is the puja jewelry. Very good. Any water or anything?
Gangajal is there. Gangajal is there.
No, it's the water.
How do you do any kind of offering without
Baby, come on,
place
baby,
or
baby, come on, baby. Come on, baby.
kosakushi nothing?
Yeah, we have koshakushi. Koshakushi.
Where is this kosakushi?
Yeah, the little one, the baby one.
विष्णु परमं पदं सदा पश्यन्तु सूर्य दिव्यचक्षुरातकम् ओम पवित्र पवित्रो वा सर्वावस्थां गतोऽपि वा यस्मै पुण्डरीकाक्षं सभायात्यन्तु कृष्णाय नमः। ओम ऐं मुस्ताभ्यां
Krishna কাঙালের ধন রাম কৃষ্ণ নাম, দীন কাঙালের ধন রাম কৃষ্ণ নাম, শ্রী রাম কৃষ্ণ নাম, শ্রী রাম কৃষ্ণ নাম, মনে মনে গাহো রাম কৃষ্ণ নাম, শ্রী রাম কৃষ্ণ নাম, শ্রী রাম কৃষ্ণ নাম। একই বৃন্তে ফুটিল রে রাধা কৃষ্ণ শ্যাম, একই বৃন্তে ফুটিল রে রাধা কৃষ্ণ শ্যাম, শিব কালী ব্রহ্মা বিষ্ণু শ্যাম সীতারাম, শিব কালী ব্রহ্মা বিষ্ণু শ্যাম সীতারাম, শ্রী রাম কৃষ্ণ নাম, শ্রী রাম কৃষ্ণ নাম, ভরে মনে গাহো রাম কৃষ্ণ নাম, শ্রী রাম কৃষ্ণ নাম, শ্রী রাম কৃষ্ণ নাম। নাম ব্রহ্ম একই যে অন্যে গাবো নাম, জন্ম মরণ সাথী রাম কৃষ্ণ নাম, নাম ব্রহ্ম একই যে অন্যে গাবো নাম, জন্ম মরণ সাথী রাম কৃষ্ণ নাম, শ্রী রাম কৃষ্ণ নাম, শ্রী রাম কৃষ্ণ নাম, ভরে মনে গাহো রাম কৃষ্ণ নাম, শ্রী রাম কৃষ্ণ নাম, শ্রী রাম কৃষ্ণ নাম, অন্তরে যত নিরাগো মনে গাহো নাম, অন্তরে যত নিরাগো মনে গাহো নাম, দীন কাঙালের ধন রাম কৃষ্ণ নাম, দীন কাঙালের ধন রাম কৃষ্ণ নাম, শ্রী রাম কৃষ্ণ নাম, শ্রী রাম কৃষ্ণ নাম, ভরে মনে গাহো রাম কৃষ্ণ নাম, শ্রী 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 রাম কৃষ্ণ নাম।
तेजस्तत्त्वं च दीपार्थं नैवेद्यं स्यात् सुधाम्बुधि, अनाहतघनिघण्टा वायुतत्त्वं च चाम्रं, सहस्रारं भवेत् छत्रं शब्दतत्त्वं च गन्धकम्।
शार्दूलनं कृष्णो नामे वान्दिके सेदेवाय, शार्दूलनं कृष्णो नामे वान्दिके सेदेवाय, ईश्वभुवन बेशे गेलो आहागुली हारी যায়, ईश्वभुवन বেশে গেলো
शिवादि पंचदेवताभ्यो नमः। ओम नमो नारायणाय पुष्पे नारायणाय नमः। ओम एके गंधपुष्पे जय दुर्गाय नमः। कृष्णाय बहुशत ओम इति गंधपुष्पे श्री रामकृष्ण शरण्य देवताभ्यो नमः। ओम इति गंधपुष्पे श्री रामकृष्ण आवरण देवताभ्यो नमः। ओम इति गंधपुष्पे सर्वदेव देवी स्वरूपिण्यै श्री शारदा देव्यै नमः। ओम इति गंधपुष्पे श्रीमद् विवेकानंद स्वामिने नमः। ओम इति गंधपुष्पे ब्रह्मानंदादि श्री रामकृष्ण पार्षदेभ्यो नमः। ओम गुह्याति गुह्य भोक्तात्म गृहाणात्मकृतं जपं सिद्धे भवत्मै देव तत्प्रसादां महेश्वर। ओम स्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतार वरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः। यथाग्नेर्दायिका शक्ति रामकृष्णे स्थिता या सर्वविद्यास्वरूपां तमं शारदां प्रणमाम्यहम्। नमः श्री यतिराजाय विवेकानंद सूरय सच्चित्सुखस्वरूपाय स्वामी।
Blue touch.
जय श्री गुरु महाराज की जय। Take both hands.
No, take
Yes.
the tray.
So I will chant one Pushpanjali mantra. Everybody follow me.
Okay.
And I don't see too many flowers here. So on behalf
Ye
of
flowers.
We have flowers.
no, order darkan. On behalf. No. You are president?
Yes.
Okay. So on behalf of the whole association, he is doing, and you are the oldest member of the, on behalf of the whole committee, you come here, you, those who are very old members.
Yeah.
And
Joy.
where is Joy?
Joy.
Come. On behalf of you, you are doing for the kalyana of everybody, you are doing, anybody else? Okay. Youngest member also.
Yes,
Youngest
Shamiji can do.
Put that light down.
Youngest and oldest.
And the middle ones.
Youngest, oldest, middle one misses everything. Acha, bas repeat after me. Om, Oing, idam sachandana pushpanjali sarvadeva devi sarupaya Shri Ramakrishnaya Voshat Om Aim Idam Sachandana Pushpanjali Sarvadeva Devi Sarupaya Shri Ramakrishnaya Voshat Om Aim Idam Sachandana Pushpanjali Sarvadeva Devi Sarupaya Shri Ramakrishnaya Voshat. Now all the flowers collect here. You collect. Yes, collect from wherever it is. Done? All right. Now make pranam. Full pranam. Down. Make pranam. Sthapak Om. Sthapakaya cha dharmasya. Sarva dharma sarupine. Avatar varisthaya. Ramakrishnaya te namaha. Jathagner dahika shakti. Ramakrishne sthita hiya. Sarva vidya swarupam tam. Saradam pranamamyaham. Om Namah Shri Jatirajaya Vivekananda Suraye Satchit Sukha Swarupaya Swamine Tapaharine. Okay. It is done. Now we shall have the next program.
Thank you, Swami.
I will take a change.
As per us. I take to
Good job.
देख यहाँ पे इससे आवाज कैच नहीं हो रहा है अभी नहीं है हाँ अभी नहीं है यहाँ पे डाल देना था वो काम
facing ideally. नहीं to the speaker so that people when they see it they see the front profile they feel that they are directly ideally.
सुनाई का प्रॉब्लम
थोड़ा इधर अगर लो हाइट पे रख दिया तो फिर स्वामी जी पे फोकस लेकिन उसका हाइट पे अगर फिर स्वामी जी पे
तो फिर एकदम उनके लेवल में आ जाएंगे
ट्राई करना है
करो इसमें
irritated the message, too many calls. He need to go inside.
Probably does not. Yesterday was gospel reading, so he needed that.
उसको वो बैठते हैं वो कुशन इसी तरह कुशन
No, but he doesn't need the desk
नहीं
table.
but he probably would because he might have paper or something.
I will ask him.
वो सी
I'll ask. Yeah, so he can at least sit
पानी
through.
पानी भी एक गिलास पानी का भी लिए रखते
No, garam pani.
Take a-
हैं क्या से वैसे
Swamiji, one request today, there will be many microphones because otherwise YouTube listeners complain they don't have voice. So if you can speak near the mic, that will be good.
All right.
Yeah, lapel mask. Lapel is the best that way.
You need that table?
No, I don't know. Table like when I like it. Nowadays, more smaller things are there. You can just put on.
Yeah.
we need to get good instance and click on Michael make a list okay yeah
ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति 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 हरिः ॐ तत्सत्
Swamiji, some of you newcomers may be not knowing that, and Swami will elaborate more on it. He is the founder of this center. Yeah, he is the
part of the
I mean, not the main founder, because he's Swami, that's why he's Swami, okay? And at the same time, Swami Swahanandaji, when he came, he brought Swami with him, and he did the first puja. And then he was chairperson of a board. So, then he slipped away from us. So
I did not slip away myself.
I don't know, whatever it is. But I'm glad to see.
I found that there was a need to make a reshuffle. so I thought that is a good idea and let other Swamis manage everything because from a far away distance like from Florida, though Swahanandaji Maharaj was we in the monastery like brothers, all monks are called brother. It is a brotherhood, spiritual brotherhood. But Swahanandaji was like a father, not he was like a father. So I treated him like that, and he also equally was very fond of me. So wherever he would be going, he will be saying, "Okay, you come with me," and he really liked that I be with him. But eventually, I had to be sent there in Florida. But he said that if you don't think it comfortably, come back like that. He felt very, very pleased if I would be traveling with him. So wherever he had to open a center, initiate something, inaugurate, like here or in Dallas or in Atlanta, when he was invited to opened the new temple, then he always asked me to accompany him. It would be for double purpose. One is he needed somebody to accompany him. He was getting old, so small help. And also, I'll do the puja or do something, and whatever he wanted, I'll be there next to him. So I had the great privilege of being a part of this wonderful group of devotees in Raleigh. From the time when I used to live in South California, mostly in San Diego, as one of the two assistant Swamis, helping Swami Swahanandji. So from that time I used to come when this separate housing for the society was not yet have happened, and mostly in the house of Sarkars. Amitabh was there those days. Amitabh and Jayashree, they were very enthusiastic about everything alongside everybody else. Umesh and Usha, Gulati, and their Ghosh, Meena Ghosh,
And
Uppals, Deepak,
No,
Pradeep,
Alok
Alok Uppal,
and
Dr.
Karan,
Alok.
yes.
Well, several families were there. They were from that time, and we used to come, stay with Sarkars, hold some kind of a satsang in the evening, and that was the beginning. And then gradually, by Thakur's and Mother's grace, things have become much better. It is a larger group. You have got your own place to gather together and support your own spiritual life. That is the main thing. It is not about creating an association and becoming somebody there to tell everybody that I am not an ordinary person, I am somebody. It is not for that sake that we do all these things. It is all about that ultimately it is about helping your own self. This is what we are doing. Like in Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna had said that Parasparam bhavayantam shreya param avapsata. So by thinking of each other, we attain the shreya. Two things are there, as it has been very clearly mentioned in the Upanishad, that there is shreya and there is preya. There is one that is the great, the supreme, and another is that to our mind appears very desirable, preya, very desirable. We like so many things here, but that may not be for your good or the best thing for you. Like eating fast food, it could be very enticing, interesting. Immediately you might think, oh yeah, let us go for it. But when you are able to be calm down, sit down, think seriously about what is good, what is bad, then you realize, no, that is not good for me. Yes, I like it. Even after knowing that it is not good for me, still I like it. But it is not for my good. Good means ultimate good. So this is about the idea of Shreya and Preya, the concept of Shreya and Preya. And we have all come together here because we are the wise guy, the wise guy, we are a little more intelligent, much more intelligent. We understand that this world of ours as we see it, as we have found it, as it has almost fallen on our lap, wherever and whoever is standing or staying, this is the world, this is the life which has arrived. From here, to figure out what is good, what is right, where I am going, most of the people, they don't care about it. They think just keep going, that's it. What is the point in unnecessarily wasting your time? Whatever people are doing, you also do like that. Everybody saying that, do you have an Instagram account? Then you say, no, then open an Instagram account. Everybody has got an Instagram. Then you also open an Instagram account. Because whatever people are doing, then you should do that. And how everybody is living, you are doing that. It is called Shrotapanna, life of fallen in a stream. You know, if you go to on the regular river, on the plains you won't see it. But if you go to the hill area, mountainous places, then you see the very dynamic activity of the river. And what is happening? It is not only the waterfalls, but it is flowing. And some places it is very ferocious and white waters are created, jumping. And as it goes from one altitude to the lower elevation point, the river water is carrying with it so many things. Where does it carry whatever falls into the river? Supposedly it wants to carry everything to the ocean. That's it. Ocean is the ultimate destination point. So the river wants to take everything and everybody, whoever comes into its body, its sway, water wants to carry everybody to the ocean. That is what water wants. So from the banks of the river, when the river is very swollen, then occasionally some tree or something or a dry log which was stuck from the previous season, suddenly the water is rising and the log enters into the water and it goes with the water stream and keeps going. It is told, where are you going? You are going. We are all going to the ocean. Okay, that's fine, great. That infinite, limitless ocean we are going to merge into, but all the logs are not going to reach the ocean. You know? Some of them will be just bouncing in and out of the river, go on the sideline and then get stuck somewhere and stay there. Only those logs that are so intelligent, let us believe that all the logs have intelligence. In the Vedantic term, everything has got intelligence. There is no such thing which is free from consciousness. That is the pure consciousness, Satchidananda, that has appeared in all these forms. So how it can be a conscious free thing? That is why when we do puja, we worship each and everything, and all the different directions and everything, and all the utensils and all the items and everything, the food and everything is, it is vibrating or pulsating with consciousness. Pure consciousness is there also. So those logs which are very intelligent, they try to stay in the middle, and not get stuck here and stuck there, and keep going, and so that they can reach the ocean in the quickest possible way. And others who say that what a big deal, what a big deal, let us enjoy, let us see what is there in this bank of this particular state. So they get stuck and they spend their time there, who knows how long, and then the water becomes smaller and smaller body, and they remain stuck there and rot there or dry there, and then wait for some another time, not necessarily next season, maybe after several seasons, again the water will rise to that level to take it again into its port. So we in this temple have come here, we have come here willingly and knowingly, and to remain in the middle of the stream. So we are so wise, we are a lot wiser than those who just live their life. Because if you say that you don't have to plan anything, even then your life will be spent in some way or other, even if you don't think anything. All the creatures live like that. All the creatures. But we don't want to live life like Srotapanna, means they have suddenly fallen into the Srota. Apanna means has arrived. And in the Srota means in the stream. So we have just arrived in the stream. We are just born without our any purpose or reason or any goal to achieve in life. No, we have come here with a well chalked out plan and purpose in life, and we shall go very carefully, cautiously, consciously. So today's talk, as was announced, was the essentials in religion. What is the essentials in religion? Where do you start from the essentials? How the religion begins at all? Because depending on that only you can talk about the essential. Religion begins with this faith or astha, that there are two different kinds of things that must be there, without which we cannot even have the first step in the religion. The two aspects of it is that the faith in the divine and faith in our own self. Faith in the divine, that the existence of the supreme divine consciousness, call him by any name, God or Brahman or Satchidananda or any other name. There is a real existence. This is number one, that we have to believe in. And secondly, we believe that we are capable of attaining that realization of the truth of God. If we have got any, either of these things is missing, then we cannot enter into religion. So the first thing is about faith. A completely accepting belief in the reality. This belief in the reality, for many it might appear as a very confusing thing or very questionable or a matter of debatable actually. People might say that how do you know? How can we even become a a confirmed believer that there is something called God or the Supreme Reality, how will it be at all possible for us? It is true that this idea of faith has got a beginning as well as an end. That kind of a faith which comes only after the realization of the Supreme Truth. Only a God-realized soul can have the faith that cannot be changed by any means, the rock-solid faith about which in the Kathopanishad has been mentioned that Vidyate hridaya granthis chhiddante sarva samsaya chiyante chasya karmani tasmin drishte paravari. After the vision or drishtva, that para and avara, which is transcendental, the para, as well as avara, the lower truth, or which is in the form of this manifested, changeful. That truth which has appeared in this form and which is beyond also, only after realization of that supreme truth, Vidyate hridaya granthis chhiddante sarva. All the doubts in your mind and your hearts, all the different kinds of crookedness or questioning and many different problems, they will be gone. Gone for once forever, for good. This will be only happen after the realization of that supreme truth, not before that. Until then, it will still remain with a little bit of a doubt, even for the person who is spiritually quite advanced. Even for him or her, there could be some level of a shade of cover or little bit of smoke screen, because of which the full reality is not completely visible yet. What to talk about the beginners in the spiritual life? So beginners, those who have no idea about the ultimate reality, who have never had any kind of spiritual experience or vision or anything. By the way, there are many people who live in this kind of confusion that they have spiritual experience. There are a large number of people. They will come up. I was talking to one Swami in one of the centers in the West, and there was a young man who had joined to become a brahmachari, and then so I believe that he was a brahmachari there, and the Swami had taken him to Belur and many different places. He was living there, and previously whenever I had spoken to the Swami, he said, how is he doing? He's doing very fine, and he's very nice, and he does everything. So recently I called him and I said, how is that brahmachari? What is his name? How he is doing? Oh, no, he is gone. Gone? Yes, he has returned back home. He returned back home, but he said that he was doing very fine. Yes, he was doing fine. What happened? Well, no, it so happened that one fine morning he came to me and said, Swami, I have already realized the God. I have realized Brahman. I have realized Brahman, so that was the reason I came here, so it is already done, so I am now going. He said that, oh, so you have realized Brahman? Yes, I have realized Brahman. So what are you going to do now? Because he is still a young man, he has got a long life to live. He said that, I have got a friend who has got a restaurant, sushi, Japanese sushi. So he has promised me he will make me the manager in this store. Okay. beware. So there are people in the world. I had a phone call. I had a phone call from a young lady. When they were college students doing their post-graduation or something, or doctorate or something, one of the Florida university, very fine. So 3 girls, they used to come to me, friends. They were of Indian origin, of course, and stay in the ashram a couple of days. They were very wonderful girls, very devoted. One of them took initiation also from me, and others I don't know. But one of those girls, all 3 are now married, of course, and live in different places. Occasionally I see them, but this one particular girl, she wanted to talk to me and called to our centers, and then I said, okay. And what she is talking, she is telling that she had this self-realization. She is still working in the same office where she was working, some kind of a research laboratory company is there, where she is still working, and she cannot go back to India, visit her family, because she has got so much responsibility in the laboratory here, and her supervisor says no, but she has got realization. And she had to tell to me over phone what to say. If somebody says, I have got realization, I have this, I have all the realization. Occasionally people come and meet and they want to talk to me. So why they want to tell others that they have got realization? If you have got God realization, it should be reflected in your life, and people will say you have got realization. There was that old lady who is known, who is famous in the biography of Sri Ramakrishna as Gopaler Ma, mother of Gopal. She for 40-50 years lived a very austere lady. She became widow early in her age, and then rest of her life she lived supported by her brother who was a pujari. She was from a Brahmin family, so pujari in a landlord's house. So there was their pujari's place to live and everything, and there was a temple, and so she, as the widow sister, preferred to live here rather than in her in-laws family, and lived a very austere life, serving in the temple and doing her own spiritual practice and living a really austere life for 40-50 long years, and then suddenly he had the vision of Gopala that she was worshipping. And then she would be seeing Gopala walking with her, talking to her, and making naughty gestures, postures, doing all sorts of stupid things. And she became like a god-maddened old lady. And with that Gopala in her lap, she came running to Sri Ramakrishna. And Sri Ramakrishna recognized that. And then in course of time, others also recognize that. So if you have got a spiritual experience and realization, then others will recognize you. You don't say everybody that I have spiritual experience. There is a wonderful talk by Swami Bhuteshananda Maharaj, and he says that sometimes people say that they have some spiritual experience or something. When it is said, then how you know that is it true or not? Is it true or false? Somebody just saying, I have this and that experience, how anybody else would know? Or even you would know that is it your imagination? Some kind of a fantasy, something. People have their mind play with them in many different ways. Then they need some treatment. So God realization sometimes becomes like that. So what is is there any litmus test? Yes, there is a litmus test. What is that litmus test? Litmus test of any spiritual progress is more you progress spiritually, farther you go from the worldliness. That is the litmus test. If you have got a terrible fascination and attraction for the world. What is this world? What is the world thing? World means the world that are perceived by our five senses. These five senses, they are reaching out to the objects of the five senses. Any object that is perceived by our senses, they are pleasurable or painful. Five senses will tell it. They won't tell. Through the instrument of the senses, they will reach your inner senses, mind, and then the process in the mind and the offer to the chief of the office, that is the intellect, and said, here it is, sir. And the intellect says, oh, this is pleasurable. Oh, no, it is not, etc., etc. So you come back and say, this is I want and this I don't want. And these pleasurable things in the world, if you are running towards that pleasure, you are pleasure-seeking animal. Any animal is a pleasure-seeking animal. And a humankind is not different in that respect. It may be an intelligent animal. There are so many other animals, some are more intelligent than the other, and they do very intelligent things. And here is a humankind, human species, which is most intelligent creature, and it can do really wonderful things. For what? For pleasure seeking. All the creatures, they do the same thing. And so long as the search for pleasure is the primary or the most important thing in our life, we are not seeking God. God seeking is not really for us. This is what has been said in the simplest term, in that Hindi saying, age old. Sri Ramakrishna also has repeated it. Jahan Ram, tahan kaam nahi. Jahan Ram, tahan kaam nahi. Jahan kaam nahi Ram. कहे तुलसी कैसे मिटे रवि रजनी एक ठाम. So how could the day and the night be together? It could not be together. If it is Ravi means sun is shining, then it is not dark. Rajani means darkness. Rajani is not the moon. Moon and sun could be together, but darkness is called Rajani. So that sunlight, sun is bright and it is very dark, together it doesn't happen. Similarly, when there is the desire or genuine longing for the world means world that are world of our senses, search for pleasure. When we are satisfied with the things that are provided in the worldly way, then we are not seeking God actually. We are not seeking God. When God is really sought after, then the worldly things, when they come to you even without asking, as it happened to you, Mr. Nachiketa. You know that? So Nachiketa, in that story of Kathopanishad, when things came to him, he was offered. Forget it. Why are you asking this question? That what happens after people die? Is there a real self or not? Is that immortal self? Forget those questions, what you will get from there. I am giving you much better thing. ask her how many years you want to live. I'll give you. How many years? And not that you will live like an old man many, many years. No. You will live like a young man. All your body and mind and the senses are booming. Youth, with full youth. And you'll be so fortunate you'll get everything in the world at your disposal. Name and fame and wealth and anything. In those days of Upanishad, good things like those, the dancing girls of the heaven on houses and elephants, decorated elephants and horses, they will be provided. They will be entertaining you all the time, singing and dancing. So, when a person, even when things come in the worldly way, without even asking, can say in his or her heart that this is not what I was looking for. This is not what I am searching for. Yeah, they have come here, thank you, you are welcome. But this is not what I am really, really looking for. My longing, my desire, my interest is somewhere else. A spiritually grown-up person, what to talk about a God-realized soul? That girl who was calling me, whatever has happened to her head, I don't know. She had to talk to me, and for a half an hour she just kept me. And I could not say, okay, forget it, and I say, yeah, so what, and etc. I say, why don't you come here so that I can talk? No, Swamiji, I'm so busy, I'm very work. She's very busy in her laboratory work. Yeah, her job was so important. Yeah, she earns so much money. If she doesn't do enough work there, and she might be fired, and that is not acceptable, you know. But she has already had his self-realization. So, the Swami Bhuteshananji says that in the Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a famous verse is there, which says that just like a person who is starving, who is very hungry, he is hungry, he is thirsty, he is tired, he is depleted of all his energies. Now he has arrived a place when he is served with food. He says, okay, come, sit here. Here is your food plate, very nicely prepared, good meal, and a glass of water. And he says, okay, eat. And then he starts eating. And with each morsel of food that he is entering into his mouth and he is swallowing, three things are happening. Three things are happening. Tushti, pushti, kshuddhanibritti. Three things are happening simultaneously. Not that one happens first, second, next happens this and next happens that. No. All three, they happen simultaneously. Tushti means enjoyment. Eating gives him enjoyment. He was suffering. It was suffering, pain. Eating gives him pleasure. So this is his tushti. Then it gives him pushti. Pushti means nourishment. He was tired, he was fatigued, he was almost falling down. Unable to get up, walk. He is getting more energy now. This is pushti, energy. And third one is Kshuddha Nivritti, means his hunger is getting satiated and further satiated and further. The pain of hunger is going lesser and down and lesser and lesser and gone. These three things happen. Food gives him three things: enjoying the food, giving him energy, and then his hunger is removed. A God realization or any level on the way to God realization. God realization in the Vedantic way is not one thing. That's why Swami Vivekananda has mentioned very famously that after your self-realization is not samadhi, nirvikalpa samadhi, then begins your spiritual life. Your spiritual life begins from there. What does that mean? It means that your experiences, more experiences and more experiences that should happen. As you now enter, you get an entry. So, a person who is spiritually progressing and having some kind of a spiritual growth, we must be very clear in our mind that spiritual growth doesn't necessarily come with any kind of vision. That there must be a vision without which no spiritual experience is possible. No, it is not. For the sake of example, Sri Ramakrishna had wonderful, wonderful disciples. One of them was Rakhal Maharaj, Swami Brahmananda Maharaj. He had vision all the time. He had vision all the time, many different visions, many different kinds of spiritual visions he would be having. And that was his kind of spiritual personality. Some other of the Sri Ramakrishna's disciples also had some visions now and then, or occasionally. We hear about Swami Vijnananda Maharaj and others. They had visions. They would be having spiritual visions, real experience of seeing the divine figures and divine things. And then there were someone like Swami Premananda Maharaj, who was among the handpicked devotees and disciples of Sri Ramakrishna who could have been even compared to Swami Brahmananda Maharaj or Swami Vivekananda Maharaj. He was the only one who was allowed by Sri Ramakrishna to touch his body if he enters into Bhav Samadhi. Nobody else. Not Rakhal or Naren or anybody. Only Baburam. Baburam was that top class, 100% pure in heart person. That Swami Premananda did not have any vision or anything, ever. Because Sri Ramakrishna also has mentioned, he will not have vision. He is one of the greatest of the spiritual personality. But he was not having any vision. So vision is not a big deal. Yeah, somebody is sending a picture, how his dog is jumping up and down like that. Somebody suddenly has found something very interesting and has to send quickly, immediately through WhatsApp, that, look at my cat, have you seen? No. So, this spiritual progress, when it happens, when anybody says that, oh, I had a vision, should check with it, that does that make him so satisfied and so pleased and so much enjoying in the spiritual life that the worldly life is no more tasteful. The taste is going away. And the attraction of the world, it is falling apart. It is slowly becoming tasteless and worthless when compared with the kind of joy that is attained with spiritual progress. If that becomes lesser and lesser, that doesn't mean that immediately the person should bolt out from his house and go into a monastery or a convent and live there. Say that the world is rubbish, I just dump it there and I don't care for it. No. Spiritual people don't necessarily have to trash the world and go. Otherwise, Swami Vivekananda or Swami Brahmananda or Holy Mother or all those great ones or many others from after them, they would not have lived 24/7 in the midst of people and tried to help them all the time. And carried with whoever they were and whatever they did and however they lived their life, they would say, okay, yeah, you go on with it. But still were with them. It could not have been possible. It is not necessary that a person who is spiritually grown up or matured or maturing, on the process of maturing, should immediately trash everything else. It is not. It is only about their outlook. It is only about their outlook or how they feel the attraction for this or that. Attraction for the world or attraction for the divine, which becomes more and more and more important. A person in the world is so attracted to the world that he finds God as a distant, very faint, if at all, a reality. But a person who is a godly person, who is a holy person doesn't necessarily mean that has to become a renunciate, a monk or a nun. Only then he or she becomes a holy person. A person in the world could become a very holy person, live in the world. And to set an example before the whole world, Holy Mother lived all her life like that. Entire her life she lived like that to set the perfect example. What does that mean? How could you live your life in the world and serve everybody, your family and everyone surrounding you, even other creatures like a cat or a cow or anything, and still remain 100% only spiritually immersed in that consciousness, spiritual consciousness. So, this idea of what is therefore necessary, the essential part in our life for the sake of our progressing in religion, the faith in the divine and faith in our own self is the step one. And this faith or the Shraddha, about which Swami Vivekananda never tired to tell the glory of Shraddha, and this also the word appears in the very beginning of Katha Upanishad. This Shraddha means the both way faith, that believe in God and believe in one's own self. And what is this believing? Believing in oneself in the sense that wherever I am now and whoever I am, still it is possible for me to keep walking on the path of spirituality and attain that goal, however high up or far reaching that might appear to me right now, still it is possible. A person might first remove this doubting aspect in one's own mind, that how shall I know that it is God real or not? We have to understand that the reflection of God is so very clear and visible to us. And if the reflection is there, then the real thing must be there. What is the reflection? Reflection is our own me, I, me, and mine. We cannot be out or away from our own self. We cannot say, I have forgotten that I am existing, or I don't need anything for me, or I don't want to, I don't care for whether I live or die. This is not there. We are continuously and obsessively, we are paying attention to something called I, whatever is our concept of I. Raman Maharshi famously would teach anybody and everybody that try to find out who I am, who you are. Just find out. Just find out, and that is the path of knowledge, Jnana Yoga. And Sri Ramakrishna in the Gospel also we have found that he said that this I, try to figure out what is this I. Is this the body? Is this the mind? Is the senses? Where is this I located? And then you gradually, like an onion, you want to repel one layer after another layer to find out what is there which is the onion. Then you find out that nothing remains inside. So going up to that level, this I, but until then, the reflection of the real self or the reflection of God or Brahman is always felt here. Felt in the sense that although we know that everybody dies and I am also shall die, logically we rationally come to this conclusion, but we really don't think that we are going to die. We are going to die now or tomorrow or anytime soon. We want to not die and we want to continue for as long as possible. Theoretically we cannot say that forever, but deep in our heart we believe forever. Deep in our heart. That story I have occasionally told to others, I don't know here also. There was a small rural church in England, and there it was a winter Sunday, so it was cold and it was foggy and it was drizzling, so the pastor came in the church and did not find many people there. Half the pews were empty. So he was not very pleased. So after the service was over, then as he was returning back, locking the church door, after everything was over, he found that in the pub, and in England, in the rural area especially, the pub is next to the church. In the pub, rest of the congregation were there and they were very happy. They were very happily, they were just still there, enjoying and talking. So he entered there and he wrote, "Hey, Tom, Harry, John, come here." And everybody, "Yes, Pastor, follow me." And brought them, everybody into again he opened the church. "Stand here, everybody. Tell me, don't you want to go to heaven?" And then, "Don't you want to go to heaven? Those who want to go to heaven, when they die, they take a step forward." And so everybody took a step forward except one man, in one corner, he did not. So he repeated twice, and then he was very angry. Seeing this man, he's stubbornly standing there. He said, Harry, you don't want to go to heaven when you die? He said, oh, when I die, I thought you were going now. He was fully under the influence of it. So he didn't want to die now. He said, what a big deal. I don't want to go now to heaven. No, not now. Nobody wants to die in the world. Nobody. You don't have to drink, then only think like that. Even without, nobody wants to die. What is that? What is that sense that whenever there is a simplest threat of life or problem or anything, we are scared. We try to protect ourselves. What is that? This is the reflection of that immortal self, Satchidananda, that is telling you, I am not going to die ever. I will be continuing like this forever and ever. I am not dying. What is dying is something different. I am not that. Similarly, nobody wants to be unhappy or suffering. The happiness is there, inborn in us, which always draws us towards happy. We want to be happy. Joy is our motto. We don't want to go away from it and be doing something, living somewhere, meet people that cannot give us that. What is that? Because that is our real nature. And we want to be in the knowledge all the time. We don't want to remain in darkness or in ignorance. This reflection in us tells us our real nature. That gives us the first faith. Those who are thoughtful, they should gather from there this conviction that the truth of God, which is of the kind of eternal existence, perfect bliss and peace, that is reflected in me, that must be there. It is a reality. This faith and the faith in one's own self, that it is possible for me to achieve and attain that reality, this brings a person to a religion. Now, when a person becomes a religious person or lives a religious life, it is about that. Sometimes we remain unaware of it. We think that just let us go and attend some services or be a part of this religion or religious group or this society and activity. But that is not the inherent reason. Inherent reason or the real purpose is there is a meaningful goal in our life we have set there, and we believe that we can reach there one day. And as we progress with our conviction more and more into it, this conviction comes from seeing other religious people. When somebody will see that there have been someone who is practicing his spiritual life for many, many, many years without any doubt in his or her mind about it ever allowed, then he or she also gets a kind of a support. This is support. Seeing other holy men and women around, when we read from the life story of the great spiritual personalities and all these things, this is a kind of sustenance and support that we will get so that we can live our life on the path of spirituality which begins with faith or Shraddha. The whole path is strewn with Shraddha. It is on the path of faith that we shall continue walking, and we reach the goal, then our Shraddha becomes 100%. Then nothing can alter it and change it. It becomes a rock solid. So I stop here, and we have talked a lot, and I don't know, there is not much time left, but if there is any question, for a quick question, somebody would like to ask, maybe, or maybe not. Yes.
Pranam Swamiji. Sometimes you are aware, some people are aware of who they are, but you cannot behave that way with the rest of the public, because then you will be considered as crazy. So, is that a possibility?
No, there is no possibility until a person, as I mentioned, becomes a different personality. A person who has got who they are idea is very vague, because who they are, the real answer in the Vedantic term is that I am the true self. Self, which is not the body, not the mind, sense, anything, there is no connection between them. And I am that. This is the real meaning of who I am. Now, if somebody has got that reality already realized or perceived, then you know what kind of thing might happen. Narendranath, Swami Vivekananda, now he as a young man, he was going to Brahmo Samaj, and Brahmo Samaj was kind of Protestant church. Protestant church, Hindu version. Protestant church. Now, they did not really allow people to even talk that Soham, I am that, though they were chanting from Vedas and Upanishads, but they said, no, how could you say so? God is God and individual soul is separate, and they can't be God. Now, Naren, when he came to see Sri Ramakrishna at Dakshineshwar, we find in the Gospel this incident is there, that Sri Ramakrishna, knowing that Naren is a Brahmo boy and this is against their philosophy and doctrine, still he'll say, oh, could you please take that book and read it? So it was this it was which book? That was very extreme non-dualistic book. The name is just missing from my mind. So that book, he would ask Naren, okay, you please read from there for me, please. So he will read in front of others, but he will not like those ideas. And then after some time he went out from Sri Ramakrishna's room, and there was a Hajra who was sitting there, and he started talking to him in a very joking way, jokingly, that look at those ideas. Somebody who has gone crazy has written those books. How could everything be God? Then this pot is God, that stock is God, and also everything is God. It is just a joke. So Sri Ramakrishna came out from his room and he saw them laughing and talking something. He could see and read anybody's mind. He said, hey, what are you talking about? No, we are not. We are saying that this is funny to say that everything is God and this pot is God and this thing is God, everything is God. Sri Ramakrishna just touched Naren,
Yeah.
touched him, and instantaneously transferred into him this knowledge of non-dual reality. And he realized the truth of it instantaneously. Now, after that, for 3 consecutive days, he could not live his life as a normal person. He would be walking in the middle of the road and the coachman from a horse carriage coming would shout, hey man, get out of my way, what are you doing? But he is still standing there. He thinks, what is this? Because everything is one, there is no difference, and he did not have to run to save his body. So and some passerby from the side, they will go and snatch him and bring him out. These many things happened with him. And he came back to Sri Ramakrishna and said, sir, please take it away from me. I cannot live my normal life.
Yeah.
Another example, Swami Turiyananda Maharaj, who was a man of high spiritual experience, anytime he would be going into deep samadhi. And he had the experience that this body is different and mind is different, everything, I am the self. So for him, there was one incident noted in his biography that he had some kind of a blister or carbuncle, it is called, and that a doctor needed to do a little bit of
Anesthesia.
surgery. So he said that, sir, I will give you a local anesthesia and then I will do the surgery now. And then I will make the bandage. He said that, no, you don't have to put any anesthesia. You just tell me when you are doing so. So he did. First the doctor was unsure that this is possible. He said that no, it will be very painful. I have to cut it open and clean that place. He said that no, it is okay. Just let me know when. And exactly that happened. Doctor said, okay sir, I am now starting. And he kept himself engaged. He was just with open eyes engaged in discussion of the Upanishadic dictum of non-dual truth with another monk or devotee. And the operation was completed and he was said that, yes sir, now it is done. Oh, done? Okay. So then another day, that doctor came after 2-3 days and he wanted to open the bandage and see how everything is healing. And without giving any notice to the Swami, he started opening the bandage. He was not cutting or doing incision or surgery. Opening the bandage, and the Swami cried out. He said, hey, what are you doing? What? I'm just opening your bandage and you are, no, it hurts, you should have told. Sir, that day I was doing a surgical operation and you said it is okay. And today only I am opening the bandage and you cried out so much. He said that day I told you to tell me when you are doing so that I could remove myself, my mind from the body out. So whatever happens to the body, it is okay. It is not me. I am not myself connected with the body, identified with the body. Today, I am as a normal person now sitting here. I am identified with the body. You must caution me first. Why I am telling you this thing? A person may say, oh, I had my realization. I know who I am. Can he remove himself from his body consciousness? And if something is, he says, yeah, I am removing myself, okay, I am not the body. Because I know who I am, I am not the body. Then you do some surgical incision there on the body and see what happens. So this is what Sri Ramakrishna has said in the Gospel. He said that you can say so, you can say that I am not the body, but if some kind of a thorn pricks your hands and blood is oozing out, it hurts. He said that you can say, oh no, it is nothing, but it is hurting. And you know that it is hurting. So just by saying, he says that the tabla player, it is easy to say by words, tabla, all sorts of bol. Da din din da, da din din da, da tin tin da, teta din din da. You can say so. It is so easy. But it's okay. Now here is the tabla. Now do it, play it. That is not so easy. So it is not really true. If somebody says, I know who I am, no, you don't. It is what you know is only the theory. You have heard it from somebody, you have read it in a book, and you think that you know. But this knowledge is called different knowledge. So in the Mundak Upanishad, there is a very famous verse in the very beginning. Dve vidde veditabbe paracha aparacha. And then it has been classified. Shiksha, kalpa, vyakaranam, niruktam, chando, yotisham, iti. This is one classification of knowledge. These are knowledge. You get, those days these were the subjects taught in higher education. These are knowledge. So when what we are talking here, this belongs to the knowledge section that you learn. But tatah parayaya yad aksharam adigamyate, by which a person knows that akshara, the changeless, immutable, that knowledge, the supreme knowledge, that is different.
That is what?
That is different.
Yeah.
So one classification is what you have heard, what you have learned, what you can chant, what you say, I know exactly what it is and I can explain you. Some people can explain so wonderfully, they become very famous. And when they are speaking, people come from everywhere. Their live telecast will be attended by hundreds of thousands of people. So some people can talk about Vedanta, about Atman, about this and that, so wonderfully. They have the knowledge. But the realized soul, his knowledge, that is different. Like a Latu Maharaj, Adbhutananda, he cannot give a lecture on Atman and Vedanta. But his knowledge is a different knowledge. It is a pure knowledge. And that is different. So when Raman Maharshi was telling, try to find out who you are. That is different. It is not about the book knowledge. It is different. And when you know that, you don't care for your body. No, you take care. But if anything happens to your body and you want to withdraw yourself from, it is easy.
Okay, so
I have seen a Swami when I was very new brahmachari in Belur Math, and there I had to go to our hospital center in Calcutta, called Seva Pratishthan, and there is a ward there in the 7th floor, which is only for the monks stay there in that ward called Premananda ward. So I was advised by one senior Swami, when you are going there, after your checkup, you should visit that ward. And there are many Swamis are there, you should meet them. Some are old Swamis. And particularly see this particular Swami. One Swami was there who was very old. And he has lived his whole life, almost whole, many decades, in the Belur Math headquarter office as the cashier of the office. So I was told that you should meet him. His name, everybody called him Atma Maharaj. So you should see him. He is not an ordinary soul. He is a saintly person. So I remembered, and I went after my doctor appointment, and I went to that Premananda ward and met some other Swamis, met everybody, make pranam, and went to this Atma Maharaj. So Atma Maharaj was half body paralyzed, lying in the bed for who knows how long. I did not know exactly. Many months, maybe a year long. And those days the treatment was not there to again bring him back to some kind of a normal life. So he had to stay there till he dies. Half body complete paralyzed. Only another half body, little bit function was there. So he had to be turned on his bed by the nurses. There were male nurses only. And that side that he could work with his hand or finger, a book stand was there, and there was the Sri Ramakrishna, the great master was there. Opened at certain page, and with his half body fingers he could turn those pages, and he would be just reading in a little bit elevated on his head portion. He was lying down. Now, think of a person who is paralyzed, who is waiting to die sometime at some point of time, and I am talking 45 years old story, 45, 50 years back. I was very young brahmachari at that time. And there is no such thing as future or hope or anything, nothing. Simply he was there. So I went there, and as usual I just met this Swami, and he looked at me, very pleasant and peaceful. And I touched his feet and asked Swami, how are you doing? How are you? And with a smile in his face, he said, I am doing very well. And it did not appear that it was just a formality. And of course it is not a Western society, it is the Indian society, They will simply say, I have got a pain here. On your first question, how are you doing? No, I am not doing well, it is not Western society where you first say, I am fine. And that Swami, and he is a Swami, why to say something? And they don't lie also, a monk. He so pleasant appearance and told me from his heart that he was doing very fine. And he looked like that. Then I believed what it means to be spiritually progressed person. So long as we have got joy in the world, and that is equivalent to joy in our body, we are not spiritually progressed enough.
Swamiji, we have bodies, the bodies need food now.
Thank you.